Hi all. Hello. Hi all. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. I think we are live now. Okay. If the audio is all fine and if you can hear me properly, just let me know. And I'm eager to have a very this session interactive session today. So just let me know if you can hear me clearly. And good to see a lot of people who have joined us. So good to see a lot of people who have come. Okay. I think we are audible and clear. Yeah, good evening, Yash. Good evening, Akanksha. Good evening, everyone who has joined in. Good evening, Rahul. Okay, so good evening, Ria. Okay, good evening, Prachi. Good to see all of you guys join in, and it's good to see that there are so many sincere students who are so committed and so serious about cracking CAT 2023. It's generally the guys who start early and are consistent throughout the year who are going to crack CAT, not the smartest, not the ones who are most gifted in maths or more gifted in verbal. The ones who are consistent are those who will crack CAT. So very good to see so many students who are sincere and consistent joining us. Good to see all of you guys, Chandan, Aman, Sambid, Rohit, Jnaneshwar, Riya, all of you. Good to see all of you guys, and I hope that all of you are ready to start your preparation, are seriously going to commit time and effort from today on for your CAT preparation. So good to see all of you guys. I want to keep this stream to be as interactive as possible. So I want to give you my perspective and my experience about teaching CAT and what it takes to crack CAT. But I also want you to ask me all the questions that you have about like how to go about it, what kind of things you should do, shouldn't do, whatever doubts you have in your mind, please put it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer all of them. Okay. So good to see all of you guys who have joined us. Hi Agniva, hi Rajat, hi Vyas, hi Rakesh. Good evening, all of you guys who have joined us. Okay, so basically this is the starter stream, starting how to start your preparation for CAT 2023. And in this I will tell you what definitely works for cracking CAT, what is the right strategy to use, what you should avoid doing. Okay, so let us get started. Okay, I will tell you the most important thing that you have to remember when it comes to cracking CAT. That is, see, there are two parts to your preparation. One is knowing or knowledge. So this is basically knowing formulas and concepts and theorems. Trust me when I say that about at least a good 50% of the people who actually give CAT would know all of these by default. The reason for this is that the CAT syllabus isn't super it isn't dense in information, because all of this information you have already done in your 10th standard. This is information you would at least know slightly. What is this formula, what is that formula, you would know as such. So the issue with this is that it is not knowledge intensive. So what is a CAT exam if it is not knowledge intensive? It is practice intensive. That is, the person who cracks CAT is somebody who practices the most. All of these 50% would know all the formulas, all the concepts and theorems, but only 5% of them will actually practice, and those guys will end up at 95%. There'll be some who would be like exceptional and they'll end up 99 percentile in the last month of CAT preparation and all. But most of them, those who are hardworking, those who are sincere, they have reached 95 percentile percentile as such through hard work. And the only way you are going to achieve that is through practice. The more you solve, the better chance you will have of reaching this 5%. Remember, 50% will know the formula, will know the concept, will know the theorems, most of the theorems as such. But only 5% of all students who are going to who are going to take CAT are going to solve thousands of questions. This is what you should try to be. If you want to see how do I end up in the top 5% or how do I end up in the top 1 percentile as such. That is basically the difference between those who crack CAT and do really well versus those who don't crack CAT and don't do really well, is practice. If you solve say 1000 questions, you're going to end up in the 5% list. If you solve over 2000 questions, 5000 questions, something like that, you're going to end up in the top 1 percentile range. So the number of questions you solve, especially if you solve from a broad base of questions, you're going to end up in the top 1 percentile. This isn't a aptitude test. It isn't something that you are smart and you will end up by default, and if you're not smart, you won't end up. It is something that you can earn through practice. You practice, like solve thousands and thousands of questions, you're going to end up in 99%. So what I want to tell all of you guys who are joining me today is that you have, this is February, start of February. So from February till November, there's a lot of time. You guys are one of the most sincere, hardworking people who have started now. There'll be people, most of the people are going to start somewhere between May, June and July. This is the period when most people suddenly realize, yeah, CAT is coming, I should start preparing. I should buy a course, I should start preparing. And there will be some people who will start in September, October also. Some people might start even in November. I'm not saying that these guys won't crack it, but because ultimately, even if you start in September and give like 8 hours a day, you're going to crack the exam. Even if you start in November and do nothing else other than CAT all day, you will crack the exam. The point is that if you are starting in February, if you do consistent work, hard work from now till November, and if you solve questions every single day, there's nothing that is going to stop you from cracking the exam. It is not an aptitude test. Do not get this into your head that, okay, I can't go beyond a certain percentile. That is not true at all. In my experience, I have seen students go from 50 percentile to 95 percentile, from 80 percentile to 99 percentile. So all of that improvement is entirely possible, and that only depends, the only thing that is required is a little bit of knowledge and a lot of practice. So this is the first message that I want to give you. A professor, a teacher, even no teacher can make that big a difference in your percentile as you can make the difference in your percentile. You have to solve thousands and thousands of questions. Now, if you might be thinking, where do I get so many questions from? So Krakow has over 16,500 questions. You're not going to be able to solve all of them. There are more questions than anybody can really solve in a year as such. But it essentially will give you ample practice for whatever subject, whatever topic that you can possibly want. So what I would suggest is, if you are really serious, please make sure that you solve thousands and thousands and thousands of questions. If you solve questions in thousands, not in hundreds, there is no way that you're not not clearing CAT. Okay, so let's start with the questions, and I would like to answer all of the questions you guys have. Before we start, I would urge all of those who have joined us that please like the stream. It helps us quite a bit. It motivates us to hold more of these streams, and it also encourages us that, okay, people are liking this particular content, we should put out more content of this side. So if this is helping you, please like the stream. Okay, so good to see all of you guys. Okay. So somebody is saying that, Shivansh is saying that I am Amritsar, call this. Should I start my CAT 2023 prep along with GDPI prep? I would say that continue practicing, but focus more on GDPI, because this is something that it is a very short term event. It is going to get over pretty soon. Then you can go and start with your CAT prep also. But again, do not leave the starting till like March or April. If it is going to get extended, then start with your CAT prep as such. But if it is going to be in like the month of February, you might as well wait for it. How to study boring subjects? Yes, no subject in CAT is boring. All three of them are super interesting. A lot of people are afraid of DILR, but even when you're afraid of DILR, if you see really beautiful DILRs, they are not boring at all. They are actually very interesting. I find the puzzles that are there in DILR very interesting. There isn't a single boring subject in CAT as such. Even like the RCs that come, most of them are very interesting, because you learn something new every time you read an RC passage. So I don't know what boring subject you will be finding in CAT. All three sections of CAT I feel are super interesting. Okay, start a practice schedule. This I would say that, okay, if you're looking for a schedule, so what we do, this is the first thing that you have to note, is practice. So what we try to do at Krakow when we are starting, when we teach as such, is basically, if you see CATs like from now till November, this is Feb till November, okay, and you have like a lot of portion to cover, okay, you have so much portion to cover, and you have a lot of tests to take, and you have a lot of practice to do, and you have mocks also on top of that. So when you give an unstructured schedule, if you give an unstructured amount of things to do and a lot of time to do it, I'll tell you what happens often is that people start off with a lot of bluster. They'll start doing a lot of questions early on, and they start off seeing and doing all of the concept videos early on, and then it kind of crashes. And in the middle, people stop seeing and stop doing the concept videos, the test, etc. And in November, suddenly they remember, okay, my portion is not yet covered, I have not been practicing, and suddenly they start cramming in from the last months again. So instead of doing all of that, and they also keep all of their mocks in like the months of September, October, last month they're going to take all the mocks. Then it becomes very hectic around then. And even at that point of time, even if you're trying to solve any problems or any issues that you're facing at the last few months, it becomes difficult to solve, because the more time you have, the better ability you have to solve any or like overcome any weaknesses that you have in any of the 3 sections. So what we try to do is, we don't leave it to you. We give you a schedule, and essentially you don't have to think about it. What should I do today? What should I do tomorrow? Because once you start thinking, okay, I will not do this today, I will not do this today as such, you will only do things that you like doing, and you will avoid doing things that you don't like doing. So people who like quant will keep solving only quant questions. People who like verbal will only do verbal questions. So what we try to do is, we try to give you a day-wise schedule. So there is no confusion of what you should be doing. Every single day you will get an email, and it will be there on the website also, a day-wise schedule. So on day 1, you will be getting a list of videos to watch. You will be getting a list of concept tests to take. So watch this video, take this concept test. Watch this video, take this concept test. From April onwards, your mocks are going to start. From September onwards, we are going to give you study room goals. So we give you a proper schedule so that you don't have to think, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do from now on? You don't have to think that. Why don't you have to think that? Because it essentially saves you time. When you have time, you should use it optimally, right? So we give you a day-wise schedule. Whether you join Kraku's batches or not, please download this schedule. So the first step that I always say is preparation. Preparation, or laying the groundwork for starting the ideal start to your CAT preparation. So the ideal start to your CAT preparation is deciding on time and place of your preparation. If you do these 2 things perfectly, if you do them well, and you stick to the time and you stick to the place, you are going to be consistent. If you don't stick to the time, if you don't stick to the place, you are not going to be consistent. The people who are, if you consider it as an axis of time and place, okay, people who work at the same time, fixed time and fixed place, people who are very fixed about it, these guys are going to be 99 percentile, because they are super consistent. If you have a set schedule of that every single day at 7 p.m. I'm going to sit at my desk and I'm going to do these things, then you're going to make sure that you do everything that is there. If you are inconsistent with your time but you're consistent with place, then you will basically have a schedule which varies quite a bit. Some days you will do a lot of things, some days you won't be doing anything. Some days you will feel overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have to do. If you have fixed time but you have no fixed place, then you will be doing you'll not be concentrating on what you're doing. You'll be watching videos on your bed while sleeping. That is not good at all. It won't hit your brain unless you sit properly, see the videos, solve the questions that are there in the video. It's not going to get absorbed. Poor time, poor place, it's going to be a goner. So basically you have to make sure that you have a proper time and place for your preparation. So what I always say for place and time is that have a fixed place in your house, ideally a study desk. Clear it, clean it, make sure it is properly organized. Take printouts of the daily schedule. Whether you are a premium user of Kraku or not, the schedule, PDF of the schedule is available for free. You can download it over here also. For the later schedule, I will ask Suri to put it over here also. So you can download the daily schedule. He has already put it. So you can download the schedule for free. It is available to everybody. Print that schedule out and put it in front of you in your desk. So every day you should be able to visually see that, okay, this is left, this is left, this is left. I have to keep track with the schedule. I have to keep pace with the schedule. So keep that in front of you. Something that I also find very effective is habit trackers. The habit trackers are basically printouts which show whether you have stuck with the habit or not. You will find many habit trackers online. So you will have a day-wise schedule, day 1, 2, 3 till day 31. And every month take out a printout of the habit tracker and put it in front of you. And one of the goals you should have is that, okay, quant, verbal and DILR. You should do 10 questions of quant, 5 questions of verbal and 5 questions of DILR every single day, and track whether you have hit the goal every single day or not. If you're not hitting the goal, it will be visible in your habit tracker. If you have a long list of ticks, you kind of get motivated to continue that streak as such. See, basically, if you have a habit tracker like this, okay, you have a 15-day streak. Every single day you have actually solved questions. Then on the 16th day, you will feel bad to break that chain. On the 17th day also, you will put in the effort because you don't want to break the chain that you have. So that is very, very effective. It is a massive motivator. Discipline is the most effective motivator that people have. A lot of people message me, ma'am, I'm feeling demotivated. I don't feel motivated to solve. I don't feel motivated to work, etc. But the biggest motivator that you can possibly have is self-discipline. If you enforce discipline on yourself that every day I'm going to sit at the same place at the same time and these are the habits I'm going to ensure I'm going to track, you will do much better. So the first thing that you should get done is the desk. The time is that make sure whenever you are thinking of how much time you have, there will be some time in your day when you have a few hours, like 2 uninterrupted hours is all that is needed to actually crack CAT. So if you're starting now, if you have 2 uninterrupted hours anytime during the day, so 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. or suppose you go to your school slightly late, say 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or suppose you come from your college and you have a break in the middle, say 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Find out what works for you. Figure out a 2-hour schedule or 2-hour window and every day make sure that you stick to the same window. Every single day you're going to sit at your desk in front of your study desk at the same time for the 2-hour window. And if you do that, you're like the time and place is sorted, then you will be consistent. Okay, that is the first thing that you have to remember when it comes to prep. Okay. I'm not able to start study room questions, daily target and concept videos take all my time. What do you suggest doing regarding this? See, Garima, I would say that right now you have a lot of time on weekends because your mocks have not started yet. You have a lot of time on weekends till April. So I would say that start utilizing that time over the weekend. Start getting your practice questions done from the study room during that time. Even once the mock start, the mock is on Sunday. You have the entire Saturday to actually focus on these things. So there is plenty of time. Study room tests are like 15 minutes tests. So you take one test. If you are like coming back from work and you're in like a bus or you're in the train, take a 15 minutes test, verbal test, DILR test. Make sure just you sit with a pen and paper and try to solve as much. So as much as possible, try to squeeze in these 15-minute tests throughout the day or through a dedicated time window as such. But it is super important that you solve every single day. Every single day, 10 questions of quant, 5 questions of verbal or RC and 5 questions of DILR set. That is 1 DILR set. Okay. So, I'll just answer a few of your questions. Okay. Broad-based questions would mean questions from different resources and different levels of difficulty. So I would suggest starting with Krakow Study Room. So what we do with Krakow Study Room is that it is an adaptive level of difficulty. As you start solving, the difficulty becomes higher and higher. The minute you stop, if you are not able to solve a question, the difficulty slightly drops. So because of that adaptive difficulty level, you will always find questions of your level at all times during your preparation. And you should do it across the different topics. So you should not, basically you should do a lot of arithmetic topics early on. I'll actually get to what you should target in each of the sections in a minute. So how to go about quant preparation, how to go about verbal preparation, I'll just get to it in a minute. But essentially you should try to attempt the questions in the same level of frequency as they get asked in actual CAT. So there's no point in doing 1000 questions from number systems and 100 questions from arithmetic because that ratio doesn't make sense. So always remember, it's not just like spread equally around, but you should do more of what gets asked more. Okay. I have 3 years experience. My age is, can I go for MBA? Aman, you are not alone there. A lot of people have 3 years experience. Don't worry at all. You can definitely go for an MBA. There are also different options within MBA. There are PGPX MBAs. There is like ISB. There are many options. So do not worry about it. You can definitely go for MBA at 3 years. 3 years actually is like the point of inflection. You can go both for the longer like executive programs or ISB, as well as for the normal PGP programs also. A lot of people have 3 years of work experience. So don't worry about it. You can definitely go for an MBA. Okay, guys who have joined the stream, please like the stream. It would help. It would motivate us quite a bit in holding more of these streams. Okay. Can A, B, S, C? Okay, sorry. Already May starts in this. Yeah. Uh, no, people start in November and December. That is okay. See, a lot of people will start early, but the key is to start and stay consistently on course. If you start in February and stay consistently on course, you're going to crack CAT. If you start in March and stay consistently on course, you're going to crack CAT. Even if you start in July and stay consistently on course, you're going to crack CAT. The only difference is that I'm telling you for 2 hours now. In July, I'll be asking for 3 hours. In October, I'll be asking for 4 hours. So the task becomes more difficult. It becomes more difficult to be consistent when I'm asking for 4 hours and 5 hours. It becomes difficult to be consistent. It is easier to be consistent now because I'm asking only for 2 hours of your time. Okay. So where should we start and how much time should we give for each topic? Ria, you can start from the batch schedule. So the batch schedule basically tells you what topics you have to cover. The batch schedule will tell you, okay, you have to learn these concepts. Each concept in Krakow study, like in the study schedule, comes with a concept test. So ideally, the right way to do things is that you learn something, you immediately practice it. So okay, so you have, for example, you have learned the basics of triangles as such. Then you take a test on triangles. Every single concept that you learn, you should at least take one test on it immediately to understand whether you have understood the topic or not, whether you understood the concepts that have been taught or not. After that, you keep solving from that. So in geometry, first we do a lot of arithmetic, then we do a lot of geometry. And the minute both of these are over, you have to go crazy on these topics and just keep solving a lot of arithmetic and geometry, because those are like going to be the bedrock of your attempt as such. So essentially, every time you complete learning a topic, learning formulas, learning the concepts, start solving from that topic till you feel that I have mastered this topic. So if you look at Krakow study room, we have like different badge levels. We have like novice, intermediate. So basically, you should achieve mastery in a topic. When you achieve mastery in a topic, then you can go to other topics and focus and improve there. And then you will also keep like revising the topics through like when you are taking mocks, etc. So that is what you should try to achieve. If you achieve mastery in arithmetic, I feel that there is nothing that really will stop you from cracking at least a quant section. Okay. You will definitely, Akash, there's plenty of time. If you put in consistent effort, you will definitely crack CAT. Guys, those who are looking for a way to prepare for CAT, please do check out Krakow's courses. I think it has just been put in the, I'll ask Suri to put it in the chat. Please do check out our courses because we offer you a day-wise schedule to make sure that you stay consistently throughout the entire period. From now till November, if you want to stay consistent, do work consistently, it will help you a lot. Okay. Okay, Kevin is asking starting quant from scratch, how to go about it. So I'll start with quant. Okay, so first this is the time and place and practice. Let us go to individual subjects. Okay, individual subjects of quant and okay, so individual subjects of 1 second. Yeah, so we are back. How do you start with quant as such? How do you go and focus on and improve in quant as such? So the quant strategy. A lot of people make the mistake in quant of putting equal emphasis on every single topic. So I'll tell you broadly what the topics are: arithmetic, geometry, algebra, then you have modern maths, you have some probabilities, some progressions and series, some number systems, and some say probability and functions. Modern maths, I'll put log, functions, everything over here. Graphs, everything over here, for example. So if you see, there's a reason why I have written it in this order. The reason for that order is the fact that the if you think that there are these 22 questions, you might look at this list and go, okay, there'll be 3 questions from here, 3 questions from here, 3 questions from here, and they'll be like split across the entire spectrum. But that is not the case. Arithmetic, in fact, is 8 to 9 questions. Geometry is 2 to 3 questions. About not even 2 to 3, 3 to 4 questions. This will be 9 to 10 questions. About 60% of your 22 questions come from these two topics. If you get arithmetic and geometry right, 55 to 60% of your entire quant section comes from these two topics. Arithmetic especially is super important. If you get arithmetic right, you are like absolutely close to getting the entire quant section, at least half of it right as such. Arithmetic is super important. So that's why we always start our quant preparation with arithmetic. Arithmetic is also the easiest of the entire lot. Algebra is generally hard. Modern maths, many things are actually easy, but they seem hard to somebody who has never done it. Progressions and series questions are difficult. Progressions and series questions are time consuming, and they are something that is not intuitive for a lot of people. Number system questions, some are super easy, some are difficult. Then you come to probability. Probability is, I feel, an easy subject, but it is counterintuitive for a lot of people. They don't understand only what is going on over here. So a lot of these these are difficult topics. They take a lot of time to master, and they are also less important. What is easy and what is very important is arithmetic. What is very important but not very easy is geometry. So remember, the first thing that you have to do to get your quant section right is like completely master arithmetic. If you crush arithmetic in every single mock, you should be proud of yourself, because you have made sure that you at least are getting the right topics right. So how do you go about arithmetic? There is time, speed, distance, there is time and work, there is profit and loss, there is averages, ratio and proportion, there is mixtures and solutions, all of these things. Remember, ratios and proportions, mixtures and solutions, percentages, averages are super easy. Same with time and work questions. Time and work questions are also super easy. Same with profit and loss and interest questions. Profit and loss and interest questions are they are so predictable. It is difficult to make a difficult question in profit and loss. So all of these are super easy parts of arithmetic. If you solve like 100 questions of each type, you'll get like full marks in arithmetic every single time. The harder part of arithmetic are time, speed and distance. Some of the time, speed and distance questions are seriously difficult. Some time and work questions are difficult. But most of the time, the questions that come from arithmetic can be solved in under 3 minutes and are very doable. So the first thing that you have to get right is arithmetic. If you get this part right, you have like if you consider that there are 22 steps, you have like leapfrog to the step 8 and step 8 or step 9. The second part is geometry. Geometry is slightly more difficult. There are a lot of formulas to remember, a lot of things to remember. How do you actually remember all of that? And even more confusing is that even if after you have remembered all of those formulae, you don't recall what formula to use at what time. I'm given a triangle, I'm given some like this is 8, this is 10, and I'm asked something, either one angle or the third side or something like that. Most of the time students go completely blank. There are like 10 formulas. Which formula do I use? There are like different concepts, different theorems. What do I actually use over here? So it's very common that people will go completely blank when it comes to triangles and geometry as such. So here practice is super important. Knowing which formula, which concept to use where is extremely important. So in arithmetic, remember, you have to do at least 100 questions of each topic or each subtopic as such. But in geometry, the more you do, the better you're going to get. It is something that is difficult to master, and it is going to take a lot of effort to master. Solve hundreds of questions from geometry, only then can you say that you have actually, that you can be confident that you will do well in this. Okay, I'll try to answer some more of your questions. For the good profile is also important for the interview, so I have to focus from that to or from now or later. Palak, that is a very good question. Try to focus on it from early on and try to make small changes early on. See, basically what they ask for in the interview is whether you have some interest and whether you have acted on that interest, whether you are somebody who is passionate about things. So if you are actually interested in something, suppose you are interested in social work, so try and join an NGO right now. start volunteering right now. A lot of people wait for like after November and December, they join an NGO and they go to like 2-3 like outings of the NGO, and they try to say that in the interview, and it doesn't work because the interviewer knows immediately that you have just gone and done something for 2-3 days. That won't sell as such. But if you have consistently volunteered from like February, March, April, etc., you have gone one weekend at a time, okay? Even if you have done like volunteer work for like 2-3 weekends over the different months, even that adds up quite a bit to your profile. It helps you speak about what you are actually interested in doing, what you like doing. If you are somebody who plays a particular sport, make sure you start practicing that sport from now on. So if you play any sport competitively, try to do it from now on. If you like playing chess, for example, make sure that you start doing what you would actually like to talk about from now on. Don't leave it for after CAT. How to catch them on daily target, because some of the daily targets we get topics which are not covered yet. Shakti, this is basically a lot of people wonder that, okay, there's daily target, there's the batch task, there's XYZ. So the daily target's entire reason for existence is that we want people to be having exposure to high quality questions from early on, and to have a lot of practice from early on. So it is entirely focused on practice. See, remember, it is very easy to like watch videos and just to learn the concept and just practice that concept, and to get into this kind of tunnel vision that, okay, I'm going to do only arithmetic right now, I'm not going to look at anything else, I'm just focusing on arithmetic. But that is not good for your overall development as such. For your overall development, you should see a wide variety of things from early on. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to solve immediately. If you find questions difficult, it is meant to be difficult. Most of the questions in daily target are slightly on the moderate to difficult side. They are not very difficult, they are not beyond CAT level, but they are essentially good questions. They are questions that challenge you. They are questions that are supposed to interest and generate an understanding of a topic. So they are not necessarily only of the topic or only of that small topic that you are looking at, but from a wide variety of topics. Even if you are not able to solve, try solving and then see the video solution. There's a reason why there's a video solution. We want you to learn from the solution. So even when you are not able to solve, don't be disheartened. Just take it as the learning experience. All of this broad-based learning is important as such. Okay, how to improve in RC? Okay, let's go on to the verbal and VARC strategy. Okay, what is the VARC strategy? So as you would know, in most of the most important part of VARC is RC. Then you have para jumbles. These guys have in CAT 2022 they introduced a new topic, a new type of questions, which is the para insertion. Where you have to insert a particular line in the paragraph and you have to find the right place to right position to place it, and of course you have your para summary. So all of these things, if you try to see what do they actually test, they test your comprehension skills. They test your ability to understand a topic, to understand what is being said, to understand the implications of what are being said, and that will improve only if your comprehension skills improve. How do you improve your comprehension skills? The most important thing you have to do is reading. But not just any reading, but active reading. What is active reading? Active reading is by reading and observing, reading and understanding, reading and forcing yourself to understand what the author is saying. So essentially, think if you are in a, think you are actually reading a Twitter tweet also. You do active reading unconsciously many times. When you read a opinion on Twitter, you're like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. Or if you read somebody talking about like the Indian budget, your first reaction is, what does this person even know about the Indian budget? If you think every single time you actually read, you engage in active reading most of the time as such, because it is your mind is constantly acting on the information that is reading. But the same person, once they start reading the paragraph or the passage, they hit a complete wall. They are not able to critically evaluate the information that is being passed on to them. Because if you read a tweet, you will be like, yeah, this is like complete rubbish. This person doesn't know what they are talking about. The same thing if you put like a 5 paragraph or 3 paragraphs, you're like, this person is an absolute expert. I should take all of this at face value without even thinking critically of what is being said. But that is not the point. You should do active reading or reading with thinking with every single thing you read. Every single article, essay, anything that you read, you should do active reading. And the way to force yourself to do active reading is basically read and write down the main point of each paragraph that you read. So if you read one paragraph, you have to immediately write down what is the main point of this paragraph. Read this paragraph, write down the main point of that paragraph. Read this paragraph, write down the main point of that paragraph. From all of these main points, write down the overall main point. Once you have the overall main point, then you can say, okay, I have finally understood what this guy is trying to say. Most of the times, this main point, this main point, this main point are just a restatement of this entire main point. All of them are going to kind of support this overall main point. So suppose you are reading on NDTV and you are reading, okay, this article is about like how this minister is wrong or how this policy is bad. Every single paragraph will tell you how this policy is bad. This policy is causing this trouble. This policy troubled this person in this way. This policy is going to cost this country this much. So every single paragraph will be about how this policy is bad. So it's very easy to understand what is the overall main point, because the overall main point is going to be connected to each of these individual main points. And once you start doing this active reading, you will be basically reading critically. You will be reading with the eye that what is this person trying to say. Okay, not just facts, not just figures, but the facts and figures are used to make a point. So don't look at the facts, don't look at the figures, look at what is the point being made by the author. So if somebody writes, okay, in this on Twitter, suppose somebody writes that, okay, the budget is very middle class friendly because they have reduced the tax, lowest income tax till like 7 lakhs or something like that. The part that is up to 7 lakhs is the like fact. You don't really observe the fact. You basically observe the fact that this person is putting a pro budget tweet. So basically you understand, critically evaluate what is the message being sent and not just the information that is being sent. That is the most important skill to have in VARC. The more often you do that, I'm not saying spend a lot of time on Twitter, do this on actual essays, on actual articles, on a lot of actual passages as such, because the same skill is required. Do it where it is difficult to make the main point, or it's not 140 characters or 280 characters. It's a long passage and you have to be fully involved to understand what the author is trying to convey. When you start doing that regularly, you will get very, very good at RC. If you get good at RC, you will get good at para summary. If you get good at para summary, you will get good at para jumbles and even para insertion. Para insertion is like a way similar to para jumbles. Think of it in a way that you have to unscramble a 5-sentence paragraph as such, where most of the sentences are already in order. Okay, so this is what you need for doing well in RC. We have done a stream on RC as such recently, I think last year, but essentially in this description I will try to put the list of reading sources that you should try to read from. I would suggest right here, Aeon is very good source. Then there are essays from The Guardian. Then you have New Yorker. Then you have New York Times. These are all essays which are opinionish. For science essays, look at the Smithsonian Magazine, the New Scientific American. All of these are essentially looking specifically at scientific RCs. Some are specifically opinion RCs. Some are looking specifically at politics as such. You should try to read a wide variety of RCs and try to read every single RC with like a critical lens. Then you will get better at RC. Okay. So let us take a look at some more questions. Okay. How many times should we give, we should give time to speed maths, or should we directly take the concept? Speed maths, I don't really believe in all of that, Palak. I believe in doing things properly. You have 2 to 3 minutes to actually solve most of the questions. Not speed maths that will actually, or the time taken to solve the question is not the hurdle. The time taken to understand and answer the question is the hurdle as such. So I don't really believe in trying to do these hacks or like quick ways of doing things. Do things the proper way, the conceptual way, and most of the time you will also see that the CAT examiner is trying to understand or trying to gauge your conceptual understanding and not how good you are at solving. There are some papers which actually focus on like solving ability, quick arithmetic skills like IFT and other some papers like that, but not CAT. CAT is generally far more conceptual than just plain solving. Okay, is having a first class distinction in my UGA has a significant role in MBA admissions? It would help with your interview, but it won't like I think it would help. Again, I'm not sure how much of a impact it would have. You definitely have like your impact of your grade and this in like the points that you get, and it would also have carry some weightage during your actual interaction during the personal interview. So it will definitely help as such. How to manage with CAT preparation and internships both at the same time. So Ria, basically the same thing that I asked you earlier. Have a clear 2 hour frame. If your internship is so hectic that you do not get even 2 hours, then it is not good for your preparation. And most people will be able to get 2 hours of time sometime as such. Those people who feel that I have no time, the one thing that I always suggest to them is try to get up 2 hours earlier. Most of the time your like time after 9 p.m 10 p.m is generally wasted. It's not used for anything productive. A lot of people are too tired to actually do any kind of work then. So instead of doing that, try to sleep early and get up 2 hours early. So if you get up at 6 a.m and work every single day from 6 a.m to 8 a.m, you will get a lot of work done before your even day begins as such. So focus on a 2 hour window, find a 2 hour window and lock in on it. Okay. I'm 29 years old and have 3 years and 5 months of experience. Is it right to take CAT this year along with GMAT? What to do? Give both exams, Rajgopal. I would say that give both exams because you should try to diversify your chances as much as possible. Because essentially it also reduces the pressure you feel for each of the exam. GMAT is a very expensive exam. There's a lot of pressure to do well in GMAT. CAT is also a high stress exam. If you do more exams, and not just CAT, I ask everybody to give like XAT, IFT, SNAP, everything as such, because it reduces the stress and the pressure one feels when they are going for the exam, because they feel that like somewhere in the back of mind, it is there that okay, I'll have another chance with XAT, I'll have another chance with SNAP, I'll have another chance with NMAT. Because of that, you feel less pressure and you do better in the exam also. So I would say give both exams if possible. Okay. Yeah, so let us, okay, self-preparation members. Ria, I would say that at least download the schedule and try to follow the schedule of what topics to do. So every single day you will be given that, okay, you have to learn this topic, okay, ratio and proportions, solve questions from ratio and proportions. So at least try to do that. And the second thing you can do is basically we have given for free all the previous year's papers. And many of them are categorized according to topic also. So previous year's papers by topic is also available. So try to solve from these previous year's papers as much as possible. That will also help you get a lot of practice as such. We have like a huge collection of previous year's papers. They are accompanied with good solutions, good explanations. So they will be more than enough for like some amount of practice. They are not thousands of questions, but they will at least give you some practice that is essential for self-preparation as such. Okay. Okay, so let us take a look at the last section and the biggest hurdle that many people feel when it comes to clearing CAT, the biggest nightmare for a lot of students, but generally a section that is slightly, there is a little bit of luck involved, there's a little bit of chance involved, there's a lot of set selection this involved. Sometimes people can do the right set selection and they can do really well. Poor set selection and they can do very poorly. So there's a lot of variability in this particular section, and this variability kind of scares a lot of people, because good students can also end up over here. Good students can end up at the top also, but good students can also end up at the bottom in the DILR section. DILR section is something I struggled with this year. I didn't do well. I had very poor set selection. So again, this is a kind of a high risk, high reward kind of a section. And I want to discuss the DILR strategy with you. The important thing to remember with DILR strategy is that there are a limited number of DILR sets that you can possibly get. I'll tell you the most like DI and LR sets. I'll tell you. LRs are puzzles, arrangements, team selection. Then you have like say in DI you will have table with missing values, table based DIs, with this chart based DIs. The easiest DI sets that you can possibly get are chart based DIs, and I still regret the fact that in slot 3 I did not attempt my chart based DI, because it is most of the time, 90% of the time, the chart based DI set is the easiest of the lot. So you have table with missing values, table based DIs, chart based DIs, you have scheduling, you have roots and networks, and you have many other kinds of smaller kinds of DI, this as such. In LRs you will find in apart from puzzles, arrangements, team selections, you have like truth, liar, smaller things that you will find in LRs. You will have some LRs which are based on like a combination of them, so quant based puzzles, like a mixture of like arrangement with attributes, arrangement with selection, so some kind of like or like probability based arrangements, or like finding out the key of keyword or such. Then you have 2D and 3D space LRs. So there are many smaller types of LRs. DI, you have Venn diagrams. So if you actually look at all the papers that have come and for the last n years, you will see that this is not a very long list as such. This isn't an exhaustive list, but this is a fairly representative list of what is expected to come. One of puzzles or arrangements will come. Definitely one table or chart based set will come. One set will come from one of the other smaller sections as such. One Venn diagrams or something of that sort will come. Set based set will come. So all of this, if you consider, the number of sets that can possibly come are very limited. So if you start solving every day, you start solving one DI, one LR, you will probably solve hundreds of puzzles, hundreds of arrangements, hundreds of team selections, hundreds of all of these as such, and you will be very good at them. So if anything even comes from any of these topics, you will be immediately, you will know that okay, this is a of this type, this is a set of this type, I have to start preparing for this particular set. So whenever you start solving, if you solve a lot of sets of these different types, you will gain a lot of confidence about what you have to solve. It will also help you pick the right set to solve, because you will get an intuitive set of sense of what is the right set to solve, what is the wrong set to solve. And if you pick the wrong set, your like questions, if you pick the wrong set, instead of attempting say 3 sets, you can end up attempting only 1 set or 2 sets at max. So it's very important to pick the right set when you have questions of this type. So this is the first thing that you have to remember in DLR strategy. Try to attempt questions, try to attempt sets from all the different types of sets that are there. Also, one thing that you should remember, that each of these sets will have a set format for representation. The whole thing with DILR is that you have there's like a lot of information that is there, and you have to find the right way of representing the information. For example, if there are enumeration of cases, okay, for example, there was a set where 2 people were playing a game, or 4 people in groups of 2 were playing a game. So you have to essentially decide what is the right table that I have to draw to show the game being played by these guys. If you decide on the table properly, then you will be able to answer the question properly. So if you just do that, if you understand what is the right representation format, you will be able to solve the questions fairly easily. So the DILR strategy is nothing other than practice and understand recognition of the type of set that is there, and for each set what is the right representation format. Okay, so this is super important. Okay, let us take a look at some questions also, and we'll be closing today. Please let me know whatever questions you have, and we'll be closing this today. Okay, so I have a problem in vocabulary, so what do I have to do for that? But like vocabulary is not super important for CAT. Because you won't get directly vocabulary based questions in CAT. Generally what happens is that a lot of students struggle in reading comprehension because they find a word that they don't understand, and they kind of trip up on those kind of words. What I generally tell students, whenever you have any phrase or anything in the passage that you don't understand, just mentally delete it. Many times in even like passages, you will find like a sentence missing. Does it change your understanding of the passage? No, it doesn't really impact your understanding of the passage. One word is not going to change the meaning of the entire passage as such. Because generally, the message of the passage is being conveyed through several sentences, several things in the passage will be there to actually convey the same message as such. If you don't understand one word, just ignore it. Just go and see what the rest of the paragraph is telling, and from that you should understand what is the message being conveyed. I'm just having passing marks in my this, so will it be create any kind of problem? So Rohit, it is going to reduce your score when it comes to your 10th standard marks. So you get an aggregate score based on your CAT score, your PI score, and also your 10th, 12th and undergrad marks as such. So there you're going to lose some amount of marks. But if you did well in 12th or in undergrad, or if you do really well in your CAT score, it is going to kind of cover up for that. unless like it is, there are some which also have filters for the 10th and 12th score. So as long as it is above the filter, you shouldn't worry about that. You should just focus on getting a good CAT score. Okay, I have scored 65 percentile in CAT. Should I reappear or should I prepare for CMAT? Kunal, I always say that appear for all exams. Take a broad array of exams, because again, see, if you only say that I'm going to take only CAT 2023, you are building up so much pressure on yourself that from now on till CAT 2023, you are like getting more and more anxious about it. Instead, take all the exams that are there. Go and attempt CMAT, NMAT, TISNET, everything that is there, go and attempt it. It is important to actually attempt a lot of exams, so that at least on the one exam that you're targeting, you don't get super nervous about that exam, because it will be just another exam by that time. So try and attempt every single exam that you can. If you get an admission, if you finally get an admission, you might then ask, okay, do I take final admission in this college, or do I wait till CAT as such? But unless you have the admission letter, don't tell me should I go for the CMAT exam or not. Go and take every single exam that is out there, because you want to have more options in your hand than no option in your hand. Okay, so with that, we'll be closing today's session. So thank you guys, all those who have joined us. Those of you who are looking to start their CAT preparation, please go and check out Krakows Crash courses. We have a batch schedule which you can download, which you can follow, even if you're using Krakows Crash course or not. Please do check out the courses, do check out our content, the demo videos, everything like that. And also please download the schedule and try to follow the schedule as much as possible. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.